What a pretty smile you have tonight,
Oh, thank
Jenny.
you.
So, how's your day going?
Wonderful. Still
Oh,
working.
good. I
How's your
just
day?
my day's good. My shiner covered up with the makeup, so that's good because it's pretty black. It looks like your father punched me square in the face. Thankful,
Oh,
thank goodness for glasses. But
I
if
don't
I
see
come
anything.
close, well, I got a lot of makeup on. I got a lot of makeup on. So, it's 7 o'clock. So you
Literally
know what
7.
time it is.
I do.
It's time for the right stuff. And here we are, and we have ones and ones of viewers tonight.
One.
Oh my, oh my. Oh, so
My.
we got zero. We went down
Oh,
to
good. They left.
that's fantastic. Well, either way, it's good to be here so that I can entertain you, Jen, and you can entertain me.
We could do this just on
Welcome
the
to.
phone, you know.
We could talk on the phone, but it wouldn't be nearly as much fun, and I wouldn't have to work half as hard. Well, if you're here, you're probably mistaken, and you just popped in by accident. But unless you're some of the OG and our followers, and then you reached the right place because you're on the right stuff with Jen and Leticia. So, how's your week going, Jenny?
Wonderful. Yours?
Mine is good. We are getting sheetrock tomorrow in the condo.
How
So
exciting.
yes, I'm so excited. So, this project that was really supposed to be just a little makeover of my kitchen has become very, very large and time consuming. But it's great because I get to get rid of 30 years of old stuff and make it new again. So, I'm very excited.
Oh, I want a new bed.
Well, I think you should get a new bed. Well, you mean here? Yes, we're buying you a new bed. So you'll when you come down, you'll have a new bed because I wouldn't let my baby sleep on a lumpy bed. So who has joined us tonight? Oh, it's your grandmother, my
Hello,
mother.
grandmother.
Hi, Mom. How are you? Some of you might see that I have put a link in the comments. That is to a video that we're going to show a little later on, and I think that it's really worth it for everybody to see this video. So tonight's show is called "Fly with Me" because there have been many people moving all over the place. Jen, they're moving
I
across.
know. You too. You abandoned her.
Yeah, that's right. I'm moving too. But I'm moving around legally. These people are moving across borders. They're flying to exclusive islands. They're crossing state lines. Some are going, on planes and trains and automobiles. And anyway, and so they're looking for aid and asylum from the United States. Working people and legal immigrants see this situation as an invasion of our country. Elitists see it as America's obligation to help people coming from other countries. So, no matter which side you land on tonight, you'll have an interesting show. And we're going to show you lots of clips and lots of sides, and we're going to get to know the people in charge of the country that all these people are fleeing from. Isn't that wonderful?
Lovely. It's
But
basically just going to be reversed. All the Americans are going to leave, and then everyone's going to come from their country, and it's just we're going to swap.
well, it might be, or America might be changing to look similar to those countries. And you'll see what I mean when we start seeing videos of who's in charge of their countries. But before we get started, we have to give our Fauci Award for for gullible people. And tonight it goes to the people of California. Governor Newsom earmarked $10 billion for electric vehicles. But due to the high demand for electricity during this heat wave that they're having, he's telling them they can't charge them.
Oh my God.
Watch. wait. What?
The Fauci Award for Gullible People. Californians, you've stepped up to help in a big way to keep the lights on so far, but we're heading to the worst part of this heat wave, and the risk for outages is real and it's immediate. Please turn your thermostat up to 78 degrees or higher and avoid, to the extent possible, using any really large appliances.
Beth Daddario has owned a hybrid car for 7 years. She's now plugging in the morning because of the state's Flex Alert, which is urging electric car owners to avoid charging between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m.
There's things I need to do, so it is an inconvenience.
Sorry, I was just cursing someone out on email. I heard that all though. My email just went off my work. I just snapped.
That might be more interesting to our
My
viewers.
Arms are hot. That's how.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Anything you want to share?
No. The only thing I want to share is that I work like a lot. And I did it to myself because it's 7 o'clock and they think it's like 7 a.m.
Yeah, well.
And they don't live in another country. They live in
Well, you need to be semi-retired like me.
I thought I was semi-retired. I don't know
Well,
what happened.
Well, apparently you're doing it all wrong.
I'm backwards, just like this country.
I'm refusing to answer emails or anything else while we're on the air. Oh, it's our OG. It's Lucille. Hi, Lucille. She says
Hi, Lucille. Lucille, are you coming here tomorrow for the Botox and Bubbly?
Oh, Botox and Bubbly. Oh, there you go. That's something that you should tell our viewers about. Can you do that live? Can you get some videos so we could show it on next week's show? I'm telling you, anything except for what we do might do better than our political commentary.
We could just sit there and stare.
Yeah, Lucille said yes, she's coming. Okay, so the comment by Vice President Kamala Harris was in the running for the award, but it sparked so much controversy that we decided to let it stand alone. Here was what she said that created so much hubbub. Watch.
Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the president and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made. Pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship. The border is secure, but we also have a broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came in, and it needs to be fixed.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
Whoa, watch your step. You just walked into some
Oh, that's what I forgot. My sign. I'm just going to carry this around everywhere.
I wonder, it would be interesting to see what would happen if while people were talking to you and they were pissing you off, if they would stop.
Oh, I'm bringing this to the office tomorrow.
When
Josie-Ann.
Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia Beal. Cynthia's my neighbor here in South Carolina. Hi, you two lovely ladies. She says.
Nice.
Hi, Cynthia.
These are your new friends since you left all of us.
I didn't leave you. I'm doing my condo over. You'll come and see me. You want a warm place to stay, a place where it's free and you're an American.
All right, home on the range. Relax.
Yeah, that's
you
it. Did you hear Mayor Adams wants cruise lines to house immigrants? Well, why not? The 5-star hotels are housing them.
And just drive the boat right back to where they came from.
Chris Cuddy's with us, and he gives us a sigh. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain point where Angela Ricca, what a moron. Yes, she is a moron. Lucille, abnormal. She's crazy. And, apparently there a lot of people that don't agree with her, including Border Patrol Chief Ortiz, who had a different view about whether or not the border was secure.
Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz is blaming Biden's border policies for the surge of illegal migrants crossing the southern border under oath in a recorded deposition. Listen.
Would you agree, Chief Ortiz, that the southern border is currently in crisis?
Objection.
Yes. When President Biden was elected, did the number of aliens trying to illegally enter the United States increase or decrease?
Objection.
Increase. If you don't have consequences, what is likely going to happen?
In my experience, we have seen increases when there are no consequences.
Is the crisis that is currently ongoing at the southern border making the border less safe for Americans and aliens alike?
Objection.
Yes.
Why objection?
I want to know who's in the background going, objection, objection.
Don't answer it. Don't answer it.
Don't answer it. It'll make us look bad. Stop. I like how he rubs his head. It's like, really? Are you a moron? Of course. Of course. The border's not secure. You know, we've got 3 million people just coming over here. And yeah. So
our own action, Ms. Adams, said publicly on the news yesterday that those busloads of migrants coming to New York have COVID. Mm-hmm. So they're bringing them here with COVID after they're saying that we're treating them inhumane for shipping them everywhere around the country. Mm-hmm. So the criminals, COVID. I hope they follow the signs in Times Square and don't bring their guns. I really do.
He's saying that it's inhumane to ship them around the country. I'm sorry.
Everyone else is.
Do you think that all the people that came to the border want to be in Texas? You think that you know what? I want to go to Texas and only Texas or Arizona. That's what they thought of. The Guatemalans, the Venezuelans, the El Salvadorans. They said Colombians. Oh, I only want to be in Texas. Come on. This is all just such bullshit. Margie gave us a link for the Washington Post article. Chris, that must be the same law firm. The same law firm as, I don't know, Amber Heard. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, objection. I felt for a minute that we were at the Amber Heard trial. And, at any rate. Well, you know who else doesn't agree with Kamala Harris that the borders are closed? An illegal immigrant! Watch this. This is great.
And Vice President Harris said that the border is closed. Is the border closed? Do you believe that the border is closed, or is it open?
It's open, not closed. The border is open.
The border is open. Do you believe that all the migrants believe that the border is open?
Yeah, everybody believes that the border is open. It's open because we enter, we come in, free, no problem.
But it's open for you to come illegally, right?
Illegally, yes, illegally. That's true.
And you came illegally?
Yeah, we came illegally, not legal.
I was making my sign. I lost my book. Well, he tells the truth. God damn it, what a day.
It's open. We're free. It's easy. You come in. We come in illegally. It's not a problem.
Well, listen, no one else wants to work here, so maybe they're bringing him in to actually do things.
He's wearing a nice Izod shirt. Did you notice that? I mean, they've been traveling they give
them big trunks of clothes, probably. Would you like Ralph Lauren? Would you like Izod? What do you prefer? We can tailor something for you customly.
Don't worry about it. We have plenty of money. It's America.
There's plenty of money.
Plenty of money. You can come on in. Okay, so after fumbling to answer the question of whether or not the president supported Harris's claim that the border was secure, my favorite, Karine Jean-Pierre, decided to blame the border crisis on, guess who?
Trump.
Oh, you got it.
How is the border secure?
So
We see record seizures of fentanyl at the border, so we're actually catching fentanyl before it enters the country. So that's how we see that. Look, as far as the border, we're taking unprecedented action. We had to fix something that was broken, especially by the last administration. We've secured record levels. This is what we have been able to do, of funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Remember, many Republicans voted against that. Many of them who would like to invite me to the border have actually voted against that. We've made over 3,000 arrests as part of a first of its kind anti-smuggling campaign. We've installed border technology and set up joint patrols with Mexico and Guatemala to catch traffickers. We've got Mexico to agree to pay $1.5 billion to improve border processing and security through smart, proven border management solutions. And the president brought 20 world leaders together to collectively manage migration flows across Western Hemisphere. Compare that to the Trump administration, which largely just tried to build a wall, an ineffective wall, along the border and couldn't even finish that in 4 years. We're certainly doing a lot more to secure the border and could be doing even more if Republicans would stop their obstruction.
Did he just say he couldn't finish it? Because do they remember that they told him not to do it? Put every goddamn roadblock in that man's way not to have it. And now we're probably spending more in ridiculous technology that's not working.
So Grandma's saying, so she rattled off all that stuff, all that hard work, everything that they did. So what happened? What happened? 3 million, the highest ever to date, of migrants are coming across that border for all the work that they did. And let's think about it. So the wall that Trump couldn't complete in 4 years, the migrants weren't coming over the border. They were down to like 60 and 70 that were coming over the border, in the year. But with all the work that the Democrats are doing, somehow 3 million in less than 2 years.
200,000 a month.
And think about that. The population of this country is 330 million people, right? 330 million people. We know of 3 million that have come over. How about the ones we don't know came over? So we're talking about 1% of the population are now illegal immigrants that came here in just 2 years. And guess what? We're paying for. We're paying for them. And, this is the liberal party that wants to tax the rich and make it easy on the working people. Oh, really? Oh, really? Well, as we get on with the program, you're going to see a couple of surprising situations for that. So what happened? So Abbott sent a busload of people to...
This is like my porn. It really is.
Kamala Harris's house. And we saw that migrant who said that the borders were open. And Ron DeSantis flew 2 planes worth of people 50 to Martha's Vineyard. And guess what happened when the lady in charge, her name is Lisa Belcastro, of the homeless shelter in Martha's Vineyard, guess what she had to say about the migrants? Let me play the clip. Hold on.
So what are the most difficult challenges right now?
The difficult challenges are we have, at some point in time, they have to move from here to somewhere else, right? We don't have the services to take care of 50 immigrants, and we certainly don't have housing. We're in a housing crisis as we are on this island.
I couldn't tell her hair from her face, so I stopped watching. She's just one big blur of blonde. I don't know which.
Yeah, so 50 immigrants turned Martha's Vineyard. It was like having a snowstorm in Florida. It's like everything stopped because
me, I would have been like, come on, look, this is how you pick grapes. And this is how we make wine.
Big grapes. I'm surprised they all didn't come out of their house and offer them a job as a maid or a gardener or something. Because we all know that the people on Martha's Vineyards, that's what they do, right? They see immigrants and they're like, okay,
not when it's at their home.
Oh, so 50 immigrants and all of Martha's Vineyard became, it was as if, oh my God, you would think they were going to call out the National Guard because 50 immigrants, they were
I'm sure they did.
They did. Watch. Let's just see, where did it go?
Were you surprised?
As the bus carrying nearly 50 migrants rounded the rotary toward Joint Base Cape Cod, it was another step in a harrowing journey these new arrivals from Venezuela were making.
I would say this is a safe community that is putting its resources and volunteers together to really solve a situation that there was no notice of.
A situation that began Wednesday when the migrants suddenly arrived on Martha's Vineyard, sent by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Many saying they were tricked about where they were headed with promises of housing and jobs. It was an emotional farewell on the island, where for the last 2 days, Martha's Vineyard gave them shelter and support. The migrants, including young children, boarded the buses to a ferry where on board to the Cape they soaked in the sunshine and the uncertainty they still face, but where many resources awaited them.
They have an ability for health services. They are rounding up literally clothing, bedding, tents, everything that people could possibly need.
We have bean stew, we have rice, plantains.
Boston restaurant owner and Venezuelan native Katiuska Valiente says the migrants immediately need a taste of home for comfort, which she delivered to the base this morning.
It's very sad for me. It's very sad for me because, you know, it's my people here, and we don't know what's happening.
And at an East Falmouth church, the pastor will be mobilizing volunteers, even just to provide a sense of community.
I trust that this is the beginning of a new life for them, and they're getting a taste of hope here, and I think that will carry them through.
Governor Baker is mobilizing 125 members of the National Guard to help the effort. The migrants will also have access to legal assistance and virtual court hearings. For how long is unclear. In Bourne, I'm Beth Germano, WBZ News.
You want a taste of home? Stay home. You get the best taste ever. Delicious. Ridiculous. Stay home. They always say home cooking is the best cooking.
125 members of the National Guard to handle 50 immigrants. 50 immigrants. We need 125 members of the National Guard.
But they can't, oh my God, I'm so angry right now. It took all of them, but they can't handle drugged out heroin addicts that have passed out on the street in New York.
How about veterans who fought wars? Do you think that there's a mobilization for all of these homeless veterans that are walking our streets, that fought in wars, that have all kinds of depression and psycho?
They don't care because they're not going to go out and vote for these people.
Right. Why? Because you know, I mean, when you think about the hike, they soaked up the sun as they went on this boat, that the National Guard provided to another.
I haven't even been on a cruise in my entire life. Look, I mean, they got to take sun on a boat.
Mainstream media. So they demonized DeSantis for sending them there, and then praised the good people of Martha's Vineyard and Massachusetts for taking such good care of these poor migrants at the expense of the taxpayers. But 50 migrants put them in a tailspin. But not everybody thought this was a bad idea. And here's a clip of some of the Martha's Vineyard residents who had something to say. Listen.
Were you surprised at all when Governor Ron DeSantis decided, okay, you know what? Guess what? I'm going to send 50 of the migrants who volunteered to come to to come to Boston, to come to Martha's Vineyard. Were you surprised when they arrived?
No, I wasn't. And I really praise him for doing that, because it wasn't a stunt. I know the media's been saying it's a stunt. But, how do you get the attention of the administration? How do you get the attention of Harris, who's supposed to be in charge of this?
Do you think she's been a good border czar?
I don't. It's really a joke, and everyone knows it.
I think what he did was a great
like
for the country, a great statement for the country to get the conversation out there.
Tell the truth. I don't believe anything that comes out of the administration anymore.
My message would be, how do you think the people in Texas feel that are getting thousands of them coming in a day? And we had a little taste of it with 50.
Do they know that Biden dressed up as a bald man and pretended to be that guy? Because it was 100% Joe Biden speaking.
He delivered his remarks in the same oh my gosh, it's crazy. So once again, the liberals are they're talking a good game, but they deliver ungats, as my grandmother would say. They deliver nothing. They talk, and as long as it's not in their backyard, they're happy campers. So guess who got involved in the Martha's Vineyard situation? And guess who came to the rescue against DeSantis and against Abbott? You never guess. Take a wild guess. Who put their nose in the middle of this and decided to do something about these Republicans who care nothing about people?
AOC?
You would think so, right? No, somebody much stupider than AOC. Just as narcissistic, but much, much stupider. His name is Newsom. And Newsom wrote to the DOJ and urged the DOJ to investigate whether the fraudulent inducement would support charges of kidnapping under relevant state laws. He said that DeSantis and Abbott were lying to the migrants about where they were going.
They just told them they were getting a surprise, along with everyone else at Martha's Vineyard. Surprises for everybody.
Well, they were surprised when they showed up on the shores of Texas, right? They were surprised when they wound up, in Florida, at the food stamp office, right? They were surprised then. So, it's a surprise for everybody. Aunt Santa's here. Hi, Santa.
Oh, her birthday was the other day.
Yes, it was. Happy birthday. Should we sing happy birthday?
No, don't sing.
Or do we have? Yeah, then we'll lose the
we'll have
8
one
viewers we have. So Newsom actually wrote to the DOJ and is asking them to bring DeSantis and Abbott up on kidnapping charges.
Oh, they will.
Oh, they will. Well, a sheriff is now opened an investigation on both Abbott, on DeSantis anyway, and is trying to find out whether what DeSantis did by flying them to Martha's Vineyard was illegal. So, I mean, who's
But they bust them to New York and everything. Why is it illegal? They get bussed everywhere.
Well, it's only legal if the federal government does it under the dark of night and they send them to Westchester. It's okay when Lori Lightfoot sends migrants to Republican districts, but you're not allowed to send them to Democrat strongholds, sanctuary cities, which there's
no such thing.
Have stated that they will take in everyone and they will provide.
But you said isn't it illegal?
It is absolutely illegal. Everything about this is illegal. And what DeSantis has said is we cannot knowingly keep illegal people who are breaking the law in Florida. We cannot keep them here. So if you have declared yourself a sanctuary state or a city and are willing to, provide for people who are illegal, then we will send them over your way. Our new mayor have to get out of office. He's an idiot. Well, we agree with you. He should get out of office.
Can you imagine that here they are going to, for your right to carry license, they're going to look into your social media, into your life, but you could just come over the border and live wherever you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And live wherever you want. And if,
wearing Izod. Those Izod clothes are not fooling us.
Ella, the pastor of the church said they have a new life, blah, blah. The reporter said, we don't know how long, they have all these legal cases. We don't know how long it's going to be. They put 125 National Guardsmen on 50 migrants, some of which were families. So why do they need 125 National Guardsmen to take care of these people? Because they're scared to death of these illegal migrants, not in my backyard. They don't want them on the elite and exclusive Martha's Vineyard. They want them in the streets of Harlem. They want them in the barrio. They want them where the liberals keep all of the poor people clustered together so that they could vote their way and live in poverty and just be a great base for the Democrat Party. How many more can they let in? Finish the damn wall. Yeah, well, yep. And they will give you money and free healthcare and free.
Oh, and a free phone. You get an iPhone.
Oh, yes. But we Americans have to pay for all this. Absolutely. So, you would think that somebody like Newsom would pay attention to his own backyard and this is the link that I put up in our comment section. And I want everybody, please, it's the first comment on this board. Take a look at the full video. I couldn't put the whole thing here because it was just too long. But this is the New York Times. The New York Times, okay? Released an op-ed video on how liberal hypocrisy is fueling American inequity. It was done by Johnny Harris and Binya Applebaum, and guess who the biggest culprit of bleeding heart liberalism, but not in my backyard is? Guess which state? California. I'm gonna put that up in a minute. Marion Murphy, thank you, Marion. Santa says yes, but we pay for phones. We are the idiots. You're right, we are the idiots. All right, so listen to what Johnny Harris and Binya Applebaum have to say about how the liberals are. It's hypocrisy, as we uncover here all the time. Let me see, where am I? Here we are.
There's a question I've had for a very long time, and it has to do with this map. This is a map of the 18 states in the US where Democrats control the legislative and executive branches, or else have some veto-proof majority in the legislature. Democrats in DC often blame the GOP for foiling their progressive vision.
When middle-class families see their taxes go up, they'll know Republicans are to blame.
But if you zoom into these 18 states, there's effectively no Republicans standing in the way. So my question is, what do Democrats actually do when they have all the power? How does California do when it comes to housing?
You know where those signs are when you drive into a state, it says, "Welcome to California"? They might as well replace them with signs that say, "Keep out." Because in California, the cost of housing is so high that for many people, it's simply unaffordable. If you go and look at Washington State, what you find is that in Washington State, if you look at the state and local taxes that people pay there, less affluent families pay a much larger share of their income in taxes than the wealthiest residents of Washington State.
In wealthy, liberal Connecticut, where the inequality in education opportunities is shameful, with some schools having huge budgets for their libraries and facilities, and others in the same state having to use duct tape to keep wind and snow out of their windows.
What we're talking about here is that blue states are the problem. Blue states are where the housing crisis is located. Blue states are where the disparities in education funding are the most dramatic. Blue states are the places where tens of thousands of homeless people are living on the streets. Blue states are the places where economic inequality is increasing most quickly in this country. This is not a problem of not doing well enough. It is a situation where the blue states are the problem.
Affluent liberals tend to be really good at showing up to the marches and talking about how they love equality. They're really good at putting signs in their lawns saying that all are welcome here. But by their actions, what they're actually saying is, yes, we believe in these ideals, just not in my backyard.
Obviously.
New York Times.
The most liberal
New
paper.
York Times. Did anybody see this before? Has anybody seen this? Only on Right Stuff are you going to get this.
All two of you are now much more knowledgeable than you were before.
And Santa wants you to take your hat off.
No.
You're beautiful. I can see the level of intensity of the stuff we're showing. They're more worried about your hat than. Oh, so she's gone. She just left.
No, my son was calling because he doesn't pay attention to my life. He obviously doesn't watch the show. He doesn't even know it exists.
He doesn't know it exists. Neither does anybody else except for the 7 people now. So if the New York Times is saying it, I mean, then it must be true. Oh, guess what? He's calling me too. Hold on. Hello? You're live on the Right Stuff. You're live on the air. Say hi to all the viewers. We're doing our show.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
How are you?
Good.
Say hi to your mom.
Mom, you didn't answer my phone call.
Because I can't. Because I'm using my phone because my computer sucks.
Ma answered my phone call.
Because she's not using her phone.
Okay, so you apparently forgot that today's Tuesday and that you should be watching the Right Stuff. So
Okay,
hang
bye.
up and watch.
I'm currently working.
Oh, you're currently working. That's
But
a
why
good
did he
kid.
call both of us? Is he bored or did something happen?
He's
Taking shit seriously around here.
he's making you raised the child right. He's working. So
I'm taking shit seriously around here.
you're doing what?
Taking shit seriously around here.
Oh, he's taking shit seriously around here. Well, you are a good kid. We raised you right. We're very proud of you. Please get off your phone while you're driving. I know you have hands free, and I'll call you at 8:15.
No.
All right. Say goodbye to all the viewers.
No, bye, viewers.
Oh, what do you think about the southern border?
Southern border? What, like the border of Mexico?
Yes, all the immigrants coming over the southern border. What do you think?
They shouldn't be here.
All right. Okay. Very good.
Right, bye,
Love you.
Felicia.
Joe Biden is doing a bad job.
What? Say that again?
Joe Biden is doing a bad job.
Yeah. Well, guess what? If you would watch the show, you'd know that the Democrats are blaming Trump, and they said that they're doing a better job than Donald Trump did at keeping the illegal immigrants out.
They're shot, so.
They're shot. And who are you voting for in the first election that you could vote for, Republican or Democrat?
Republican.
All right. You're a good kid. Love you.
I love you.
Bye.
I brainwashed him so well.
You did a good job. You did a really good job. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Chris Kenny, great kid.
Thank
You're
you.
absolutely right. I don't know what this is about. Bye. What do you mean bye? Are you leaving?
Like, hang up on him.
Oh, hang up on him. Okay. So anyway, so the New York Times brought it to light. So now I thought that it would be great, right? We hear all these Americans saying, oh, not here, not here, not here. So I wanted to know, well, what's going on in their countries that they want to come here, that they're willing to take their lives in their hands.
Free money.
Come here. So Venezuela, Colombia, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. Okay. Here are some clips from in Venezuela. Where did we go? With more than 3 million illegal immigrants crossing the border during the less than 2 years Biden has been in office. We wanted to take a look at these different countries. So let's start with Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro. This is interesting. Watch this.
Venezuela was once the richest country in Latin America. It has the largest known oil reserves in the world, and its democratic government was once praised worldwide. But today, Venezuela's democratic institutions and its economy are in shambles. The country has the highest inflation rate in the world, making food and medicine inaccessible to most Venezuelans. Over the last 4 years, its GDP has fallen 35%, which is a sharper drop than the one seen during the Great Depression in the US. And the country's murder rate has surpassed that of the most dangerous cities in the world. These conditions have sparked months of protests against the president, Nicolas Maduro, and it's easy to see why. The country has become measurably worse since his election in 2013. Maduro's political ambition became evident in December 2015. 2 years after he became president, a coalition of opposition parties called the Democratic Unity Roundtable, or MUD, won a 2/3 majority in the National Assembly, putting Maduro's rule at risk. In response, Maduro quickly forced out several Supreme Court justices and filled the positions with cronies loyal to him. In March 2016, the court ruled to strip the opposition-led National Assembly of its powers, a move that sparked massive protests across the country. The ruling was reversed a few days later, but the damage was done. Protests continued to grow and have left about 100 dead and thousands injured so far. Despite the violence and public outcry, Maduro held a vote in July to elect a new governing body called the National Constituent Assembly, which would have the power to rewrite Venezuela's constitution and essentially replace the National Assembly, and leave virtually no opposition to Maduro's rule. The opposition boycotted the vote, but Maduro held the vote for a new constitutional assembly anyway, and won a majority.
Protests on the streets of Venezuela turning deadly after President Nicolas Maduro declares victory.
Se dio ayer fue el más grande fraude que se haya cometido en cualquier elección nacional.
Maduro's government is trying to create the illusion of public support. The government claimed about 8 million people, or 40% of the country, voted, but experts put that number much lower, at just 3 million people. The international community, including Peru, Canada, Spain, Mexico, and Argentina, condemned the election. The US imposed financial sanctions on Maduro and members of his government. But Maduro's assembly, filled with loyalists, convened anyway, and it swiftly removed Attorney General Luis Ortega, leader of the opposition. Armed groups reportedly arrested several other opposition leaders too.
So they basically stole what the libs are saying January 6th was, and they took it and made it the same.
They did it there first.
We copied.
I am so proud of you that you saw those similarities. Supreme Court justices.
And New York City too during 2020. But January 6th.
They pressured Supreme Court justices out. What we see here, here we saw a Democrat Supreme Court justice out to make room for Ketanji Brown, right?
Of course, we're doing the same thing.
We saw protests in front of Supreme Court justices' houses. We had an election that people were protesting that they said could not be right, and we had the media trying, talking about the claims of election steal being false. But it's okay that it happened in Venezuela.
And then they can come here and be rewarded. Come here. Oh, you feel that way? Come here.
Okay. Well, just so that you know that Chavez, who preceded Maduro was his handpicked. He died in 2013. Chavez, when he got into office, he gave everything for free to, quote unquote, the poor. And now, at this point in time, 82% of Venezuelans are living in poverty. And what happened with Chavez was he was wildly popular. He was trying to do the same thing. He was trying to set up an authoritarian government, and he was messing with the economy. But the reason that people didn't mind was because he had the money, because as it started out by saying that they have so much oil. So he had the money because in 2014, 2015, oil prices shot up. So he had all this money. I'm sorry, not in 2014.
At least 2008.
2008 under Obama, because Obama was buying oil from Venezuela. His father loved Venezuela, and and so Obama had a fixation on it. The prices of oil skyrocketed, so Venezuela made a bundle of money, like Putin is making right now. But then when oil prices fell in 2014 and 15 and under Trump, then their economy collapsed. The other thing to know about Venezuela is that if the military controls the food, the military. So you can't get food and you can't get money unless the military gives it to you. Now, the thing is the military is using it for their own gain. They're all corrupt and they're all pocketing the money. So the 82% of the population that is starving or that is in poverty is starving. So that's what happened to Venezuela, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the interesting thing is that for so many people have been calling for the United States to intervene with Venezuela to pressure them to stop the corruption. And you know what? The libs are saying, don't, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let it be. It's an independent country. Let it be. So interesting that that's what's going on with Venezuela. So that's one country. And now, by the way, the people that came over and that were shipped to Martha's Vineyard from Venezuela. So now Maduro has been in since 2013. Now here's Colombia's new president, Gustavo Petro, who was elected in 2022. Now listen to what he's all about. He's from Colombia.
Never before has Colombia elected someone with Petro's past. He fought for M19, the leftist guerrilla group that targeted the Colombian state and spent 2 years in jail. He became an opposition politician, first mayor of Bogota and now senator. For a country that long marginalized the left, Petro's election is a dramatic departure from decades of right-wing and center-right governments. The 62-year-old became an icon for the country's frustrated youth. For decades, Colombia has been the United States' strongest regional ally. The two militaries work together. Colombia is the U.S.'s largest regional trading partner. And the U.S. and Colombia have teamed up to fight what the U.S. has called the war on drugs. But Petro calls the drug war a failure and demands to re-examine the trade deal to focus on climate change. Another change, Petro's embrace of the regional left. He met with Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez before his death in 2013. Today, Petro vows to create what he calls a progressive partnership with current Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and other regional leftists.
Colombia will probably be more on the side of the autocracies than the democracies. The U.S. will take a backdoor in policies, changing and putting an end to a relationship, a very close relationship between Colombia and the U.S. for the past 30 years.
Petro also vows to upend Colombia's decades-old dependence on fossil fuels and raise taxes on the rich.
Wow. That's exactly what's going on.
He's Bernie Sanders. He's the Colombian Bernie Sanders. So that's what's happening in Colombia. They're breaking ties with America. The deal that we have to not bring drugs into the country, he's getting rid of it. So guess how much more drugs are going to come over that border?
They don't care about drugs anymore. They care about your gun that's licensed on your body.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they care about.
Only so that, think about it though. Not that Colombia was not corrupt, of course it was, but they even said he moves more to the authoritarian. So he's going to go with Maduro. So if Maduro and Venezuela is in poverty with the government and the military taking all the money and fixing the economy so that they're making money and the people are starving, similar to Russia, similar to what Russia wants to do.
I was just going to say that.
So now Colombia is going to join that. And he was just elected in 2022. Was the election rigged? Who knows? Easier to say that a Colombian, I can't say it the way they do, Colombian election is rigged, than an American election is rigged. But all right, here's Guatemala's new president, Alejandro Giammattei. And he was elected in 2019. This one's pretty good.
I think people have been led to believe that President Biden would be easier on immigrants, especially children.
That was not exactly Biden's message, but they used his message to turn it around and tell people, now's the time, they'll receive you, let's go. The message is confusing. Messages have to be clear.
Are you more optimistic that this immigration problem will be solved or at least curtailed under the Biden administration or the Trump administration as it was?
I think we'll be better than with Biden than Trump. I guess so. I hope so. I need so.
And you're already making inroads. There's signs of progress.
Yes. And in fact, the United States didn't tell us, help us stop the caravans. They didn't ask us to do that. We did it. Because you can't have 8,000 people enter, break barriers, not go through immigration, and attempt to invade the country to get to the other side.
Guatemala has been rated as the government of this country as one of the most corrupt governments in the entire world. How can the United States be assured that any funding that it gives to Guatemala will go to where it's supposed to go, toward jobs and security, and that this will stop the people from making dangerous journeys?
I'll correct you in one thing. First of all, I've been here 14 months. Not a single accusation of corruption has been lodged against me or against any of my ministers, not a single one. Of course, you can tell me that there have been corrupt governments. Well, of course, yes, I won't deny that. But you can't say that this government, which has faced the pandemic, I only served 49 days in office with no pandemic, that we have devoted ourselves to corruption. What corruption? We haven't been accused of corruption.
They stopped the caravans. Do you remember the caravans under Trump? Do you remember the thousands of people that were walking in the street when Trump was president? But they stopped it for Biden. They stopped it. Americans didn't even ask us. We just did it. Well, if you stopped it, were you behind starting it? I mean, all of a sudden, thousands of Guatemalans start walking in the rain for no apparent reason.
I got to give it to them. I can't even get to Brooklyn sometimes without my GPS. And no, I'm serious. Like maybe they could be travel agents or I don't know, direction people. Maybe they could be the voice on your GPS, on your TomTom. Hey, you'll go left. And that's how you get there.
Oh my God.
How did they do it? I literally get lost between 3rd and 5th Ave in Brooklyn and Bay Ridge. But they get here. There has to be arrows. There's 1,000% arrows or breadcrumbs. I'm telling you that there is. There is no way somebody can travel that far and not get lost.
On foot.
With no shoes.
With no
remember
shoes.
That story we used to
Carrying
tell?
children.
When we were kids, we walked to school barefoot, backwards to school. They're going through different countries and getting here.
Through the jungles, through the mud, through the swamps.
No one's getting gangrene. Everyone's
lots of people are dying. And we know
but
that.
they get here, so they should be traveling.
They get here. These are people with passion to, and when you think about the people that are leaving these countries, these honestly, these are people with desire, and these are the thinkers, these are the innovators of these countries. And so for them to leave, if I was the president of those countries, I would be, and we're going to hear from the El Salvadoran president, but I would be distressed because those are probably some of the best people
I would make
in the
whoever
country.
gets here, I would make them a CEO of a company, because they, I can't even get my son to, go a few blocks without driving anymore. These people are, and I watched the news the other day and they were saying, we want to work. We're here. We want to work.
That's right.
We want a job. We do
That's
not
right.
want anything for
That's right.
free.
That's right.
But they're not going to do that for them. They're going to stop them from working.
That's exactly right. It's opposite of the immigration that happened with the Irish and the Italians and the Caribbeans and the Nigerians. People who came to this country with a desire to work, to become part of the fabric of America. The people who are coming still have that desire, but this administration is going to make sure that they are fat, lazy, and stupid, and so are their kids. And that's the sin of it. Because
they're brainwashing them before they get here.
That's right. People who have, core values. And Chris Ketty said, honestly, it's much more advanced than you'd think. In some ways, I will say even better than the U.S., at least better family values. Agreed, Chris, 100%. I mean, that's why I wanted to look at the presidents of these countries, because to blame the migrants is wrong, in my opinion. We can't, that is the side effect of what is happening.
If you're going to walk and do that and put yourself in danger, there is danger where you are.
Absolutely. All joking aside, all kidding aside, we laugh, we try and make light of some very distressing situations. But the truth is, these are probably the great thinkers, the great workers, the people who, if given an opportunity, would flourish. But the problem is not the people. The problem is their leadership. And what we're seeing in clip after clip, I don't know if everybody else is seeing it, but I saw it when I put it together. They all have the same thread, all these leaders running through them. They're all talking about, woke ideals. They're all talking about gimme, gimme, gimme. They're all talking about keeping people fat, lazy, and stupid so that they could stay corrupt. And that's the problem. Have a look here now. Here's Honduras's new president, the first female elected in 200 years, Xiomara Castro, elected in 2022. The name Castro scares me a little bit, but here we go.
She won a landslide election victory, riding on a wave of anger by people fed up with the status quo. But Xiomara Castro's presidency is already fraught with trepidation even before it starts. Honduras's Congress is in crisis over who should lead the legislative body. Last week, around 20 lawmakers from her own Libre o Freedom party defected in opposition to Castro's choice for congressional leader. She picked a lawmaker from another party as part of a deal with Salvador Nasrallah, her former rival turned running mate. Those rejecting this picked one of their own by aligning themselves with the right-wing National Party of the outgoing president. On Tuesday, rival groups held separate sessions, one in the chambers of Congress, the other over Zoom. The political impasse is threatening to derail Castro's ambitious reform agenda.
Encuentra un país no solamente fracturado políticamente, sino que con múltiples necesidades en materia educativa, de salud. Recibe un país con niveles de inseguridad otra vez en crecimiento.
On the street, hopes are still high that Castro will bring serious change to Honduras. Under the previous government, half the population lived in poverty and rampant crime drove thousands to jump on migrant caravans. Outgoing President Juan Orlando Hernández has faced accusations of institutional drug trafficking and corruption.
This is how the world's going to end.
Well, it's how it's going to change for sure. So, incidentally, Juan Orlando Hernández, the former president, was indicted 4 months ago and extradited to New York. He was indicted by the U.S. Attorney General for actually working with the cartels to bring cocaine into America. Now, he's saying that the cartels, that he's being framed by America and the cartels. Who knows? But his brother was convicted. He was a member of Congress. He was convicted, and he's serving time in America. And now Hernandez is also, here in America, in New York, and he's going to stand trial for.
I wonder how fast he was convicted, because I mean the people
He was
involved-
indicted. He was indicted.
People in 9/11 are still waiting 20 something years later. They still haven't even seen a trial. They just like what? But we're worried.
Absolutely. So now, you know, that's how governments change regimes, right? I mean, if you take a look at the way governments work around the world, and you find that the opposition party, you know, finds ways to frame Pakistan, for instance, if you're standing for election and they don't like you, they throw you in jail. And this way you can't campaign and you can't go out there. And that happens in many, many countries.
And here they just steal the election.
America was involved with Castro in the Bay of Pigs with John Kennedy to change the leadership there. And look at what that got us. You know, so could this be? I don't know. I'm not claiming it. I'm just saying, isn't it amazing that we, you know, all these elections at the same time? We have the Biden election that Americans are scratching their head about, and look at where we're left with Biden. You know, you have Petro, you have Diamante, you have now Castro, you know, in upheaval. You have Maduro. You know, we've got something going on here, and we need to look at it. So it's not enough just to say, oh, the southern border, the southern border. We have to look a little deeper and say what's going on in those countries, and why 3 million people in less than 2 years coming to America. It's something bigger than just Biden, you know, signaling the borders are open. Lastly, we have El Salvador's new president, Nayib Bukele. And he's a 30-something-year-old who adopted Bitcoin as the national monetary system in El Salvador. Watch this.
There are an estimated 2 million Salvadorans living in the United States.
Maybe a little more.
Maybe more, and more coming now.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many people have moved from this country to the U.S.?
Well, it's obvious. I mean, our country has failed to provide two basic things, which are the two main drivers of immigration, which is the lack of economic opportunity and the lack of security. Most people doesn't want to leave their country.
Right.
They like their culture, they like their food, they like their weather. I mean, it's their country. They have their family members here, their friends. Most people leave their country because of two main reasons. And those are the two main reasons. And if you add up the civil war we had in the 80s, well, that was the main driver at the beginning. And then you have people, you know, that have cousins over there, and then the cousin says, oh, come here and you will find a job here. And there's relative security based on what you have over there and what you have here. And so those are the main drivers of immigration. Our country has failed to provide security and economic opportunity, so people leave.
So, but if the richest country in the world says, if you cross over the border, we will give you free healthcare, free education, all these benefits, I mean, that's a draw, isn't it?
Of course, it's an incentive. I mean, everything in life is pros and cons, right?
Yes.
So you have, for immigration, you have a con that probably you don't know the language, or you have to, the journey is a difficult one. You may die in the journey. But if in the end we will receive a lot of things, of course, the pros go up and the cons go down. So it depends. It's an incentive game here. And if, for example, if here in El Salvador we have better jobs and better security, it's less of an incentive. And you can see it in the numbers. We haven't changed the country 180 degrees in 2 years. In 1 year and 9 months we have been in government, of course. But if you see the numbers 2 years ago, and you see the numbers now, immigration from El Salvador has gone down. And it's a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons is that we have improved security by 75%. I mean, the homicide rate has gone down by 75%, and the violent crimes have gone down by 75%. And economic opportunities are a little better than what they were before, 2 years ago. And there's a little more hope here that the future is going to be better. So that lowers the numbers. That's why you have caravans of 10,000 people going out of Honduras, and you don't have any caravans going out from El Salvador. But 2 years ago, El Salvador was bigger than Honduras in immigration.
So, it's, you know, these are the presidents of the 5 major countries. And now add to that, there's one that I didn't include, which is now Ukraine, that they're coming in at the southern border. And think about what's going on in Ukraine. So, you know, when we talk about the southern border, you got to dig a little deeper. And yeah, these Sunday morning news shows and Meet the Press and PBS NewsHour, who the hell wants to watch this stuff? Well, more people want to watch that than they want to watch us. But
obviously,
but
like 6 of them are our blood relatives. So
yeah. Mickey Petrini's here. Hi, Mickey.
before we wrap up, I need to tell everyone that I will be roasting Scott Libato on October 17th at the Staten. So if anyone wants tickets, they could go on Scott Libato's page. I'll post it.
That's right. That's right. That is going to be a show that everybody wants to see. And no, you can't sneak in for free like they do over at
the $110 for dinner, and I think it's beer, wine, soda. But it's a great dinner.
And it's for a good cause because the Kiwanis, they help children. So I know money is tight for everybody, but it's definitely worth it. And to see my daughter perform her comedy, $110 is cheap. And you get Scott Libato in there too. So everybody go down and see it. What's the date again, Jen?
October 17th.
You should put a link to whatever.
I sent it to you, but I will do it now.
In the comment section. All right. Well, we went over by 5 minutes. We're getting worse and worse. Thank you to our loyal viewers who have joined us. I hope we gave you a little background on, the southern border and what's going on in those countries. And, keep sending in ideas, keep sending in thoughts for our Fauci Award. Jen, last words?
Nope, I said my last word. That's it when I cut you off.
Okay. The last word is from Gloria Johnson. Have a great night. Have a great night.
Night.
2 weeks to Nashville for Mickey. Okay, take some video and send it our way. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And remember, give us a rumble. Everybody follow us on
You keep telling them. No one does it, so.
I know. Well, I'm